Good evening, everyone. It is April 24th, 2023, over here on the West Coast. Now, what we'll start off with is the ES over here. Now, the NYSE breadth today was actually quite good. I think it got to about plus 900, and at the lows of the session, I think it was only around like negative 150 or something like that. As you can see, we've been maintaining this trend down, and we did get a bid right at that 41.3950, right at where we had the weekly pivot sitting at. And that is last week's 95% value area low. So to me, we're having this situation where we're continuing to have an aggressive trend down ahead of some pretty big news tomorrow after hours. I think we have Meta and Google, or Meta and Microsoft, or something like that, or Google and Microsoft. I can't remember, but a couple big tech earnings coming ahead for tomorrow after hours. We also have a bunch of news at 10 o'clock. CB Consumer Confidence, new home sales, I think, and then Richmond Manufacturing Index, probably. I think that's what that is, all at 10 o'clock. The NQ has been a bit of a different story. Let's just quickly glance over at that. The NQ has been much, much weaker, coming in at a downtrend as well, but it looks like we are going to start to lose that February high around 950 that's been so supportive. We came right down to the very bottom of this zone here, and it looks like we're going to test it now in the overnight. And if we do, I think we'll be making our way down on a higher time frame into that gap into that gap close at 777. Overall, the NQ is just looking much weaker. On the ES, we found the bid at last week's 95% value area low, roughly at last week's -2 standard deviation of VWAP. On ES, it took until the third standard deviation to the downside. It took until not last week, but the week prior to that's 95% value area low. And then during the afternoon ramp, ES made it back above, into last week's value area low, back above the open, all that sort of stuff. The NQ was not able to do that. It was not able to move to the open, not able to get inside last week's value area. ES pretty much went right back up to the highs of the session. So to me, tech is leading us down, and these earnings are really going to decide what happens. And it's important to note that when you're getting such an aggressive trend down occurring, you need the flush to come. Like I said up here in this little caption, sellers have to get this flush going. Otherwise, we're going to get a violent short squeeze to the upside, in my opinion. So with all that said, how am I looking to trade this tomorrow? Let's get into it. Let's go over to the S&P. And you'll see I have quite a few notes here, and it's just looking kind of tricky to me, and I want to lean on tech, especially with these earnings coming up. I want to be short 41.80 quarter, just where we have that distribution. Below there, I want to be short 41.55 3/4. That is not only just a level in general that's been respected for pretty much all of this month, but right around that. Oh, let me just mod that. I think I want 56/4. Yes, 56/4 is what I want instead. Here we go. There we are. That's if we open below today's value area low from the RTH, and if the NQ is showing signs of weakness, then I'll be short 56s. I think if we get above there, we're looking at a trend up to about 41.75 to 80, where that short is planned out. To the downside, I have a gap down scenario where I want to be short 41.39, again, if the NQ is showing weakness. Below there, I want to be long somewhere around 30 to 32.5. And below there, looking at long once again at 41.03 3/4. Just an area where we've more or less salvaged the bid numerous times, and where we have another 95% value area low coming in from this week, the week of the April 10th. That's all I really have here. I'm not interested in getting short above that kind of 41.60 area. I think we start to squeeze to the upside. It's important to note that at the close, and perhaps I should explain it as as we were selling down, we were getting some significantly negative deltas. Just pulling this up on another screen, I think we got to somewhere around negative 150,000. Negative 120,000 on TradingView, and usually 100,000 is a reversal signal. On the NQ, we had something similar where deltas were just extremely negative, and usually these sorts of things flatline, go back to zero into the close. But on the ES, we closed at negative 45,000. So these guys, in my opinion, are really trying to continue that short bias, and you can see it. We closed at 4160. We're back to trading 4148. Let's talk about the NQ. Over on the NQ, looking to play it aggressively short. Uh, just like on the ES, this thing got really negative during today's session, negative 57,000, and usually we get that turnaround around negative 30, negative 35,000. That is what I was hoping to get when I was bid here 09s earlier today. However, this thing also closed right around negative 23,000. So to me, these guys are really quite short, and we don't want to be on the wrong side of a squeeze. That's why I'm giving it so much room to the upside. If we clear 87s where we had this auction and sold off, I think we're going to get that similar thing of a trend up to whatever it is, 180, 214, what have you. So I will not be looking to get short until that 214 number. Maybe 182. Maybe I'll throw that up there. What is that? 182, the weekly POC from last week. Other than that, not looking to get short. To the downside, I want to be long 909.5. That is a weekly point of control. I think it's the last spot we can salvage this thing before it goes ahead and gets into that gap. Way down at 777. Way down. That gap closed somewhere around here. Above there, I do have a gap down scenario, and I'd like to be short 970.5 before any sort of tag of that prior weekly low at 937.75 from the RTH. Above there, I want to be long 09s, roughly where we're trading right now. I think that was our major support, became a major area of auctioning, and then where we ramped up. And then I want to be short 049s before a tag of 983.25, that just being the value area low from the session. So trying to get short where we had this point of control develop. Notably, it was a point of control developing without much churn or any real churn there earlier in the day. So I think that'll be a key area of resistance. And then one more auction up here, 87. So that's how I'm looking to trade this. Sorry if it's a little bit convoluted, just a little bit tired here. But long 909s, short 970s if we have a gap down, long 09s before a tag of 004, so the VWAP close from the session, short 49.25, so the point of control from the session, short 87s where we auctioned around, ES, long 30 or 32, long 0375, short 39s if we get a gap down scenario, and then short 56.25 and short 80.25. Hope that makes sense. Hope that helps. This will, I think, very likely be modified before the open. I think we'll have quite a bit of movement during the overnight ahead of all the earnings and news and all that, and we'll have a quieter afternoon. Around after that 11:30 or 12 o'clock, I think things will quiet down quite a bit ahead of earnings, and then we'll just be waiting on that after the close. Anyway, hope that helps. Hope that makes sense. And updates to this will be posted to Twitter per usual. Have a great night and trade safe.